Go beyond borders. This is CNN.
Now on CNN, remembering a reporter who gave his life telling others about the horrors of war. Stay tuned for Worldview.
Over 350 contributors, reflecting more than 150 countries and territories. Worldview with Guillermo Arduino starts now.
He covered the brutality of war and paid the ultimate price. We'll tell you about the life and death of a journalist turned national hero in Azerbaijan. Hello and welcome to Worldview. I'm Guillermo Arduino. He was one of Azerbaijan's most noted journalists. Chingiz Mustafayev documented the horrors of a war that ultimately took his life. Through his work, the world learned about a large-scale massacre of civilians in 1992. This weekend, Azerbaijanis are honoring Mustafayev on what would have been his 50th birthday. ANS TV's Sevinch Mangeze now tells his story, but a word of caution. This report contains graphic pictures that may be disturbing to some viewers.
His father wanted him to become a military officer, but instead Chingiz trained to be a doctor, as his mother had wanted. But his real passion was music. Chingiz wrote some of the first hip-hop songs in Azerbaijan back in the late 1980s. In this one, DJ Chingiz raps, "What happened yesterday has passed." When armed conflict with neighboring Armenia broke out over the Nagorno-Karabakh region, Chingiz became a reporter.
It's the 16th, 1 o'clock. The only troops still standing for Lashin are the ones behind me.
In March 1992, it was here, in Azerbaijan's parliament, that Chingiz's film exploded like a bombshell. His documentary footage proved that hundreds of civilians had been brutally murdered in the small Azerbaijani town of Khojaly.
Chingiz was no stranger to death. He covered war extensively, but what he saw and documented in Khojaly was appalling. Infants, young children, elderly women, all innocent civilians ruthlessly murdered, but there was little Chingiz could change. His job was to expose the truth. Sometimes he was sobbing uncontrollably while continuing to film. It was thanks to this video that the public learned the shocking truth about Khojaly massacre. But as the war continued, Chingiz had no time to waste to be lauded as a hero. He was back at the war front, filming and reporting again. Fellow soldiers treated him as one of them. His very presence and his passion for justice did much to lift the morale of the soldiers. In his short journalism career, which only lasted 8 months, Chingiz Mustafayev managed to film 18 documentaries, leaving behind a unique video archive of the Azerbaijani-Armenian conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh, a first-hand eyewitness account of events which ultimately cost him his own life.
They brought my son home on a stretcher. My tall, handsome, wide-shouldered boy was on a stretcher, covered with blood.
The battlefield of the small Karabakh village of Nakhchivanik was a setting for the report that would be Chingiz's final documentary. He was filming from a trench when a shell exploded beside him, knocking him to the ground. He managed to say, "I'm dying." Those were his last words, but his camera continued filming. Only this time, it was documenting what were the last moments of the life of a journalist who had passionately loved his motherland and had given his final breath committed to exposing the truth. Sevinch Mangeze, ANS TV Azerbaijan, for CNN Worldview.
Go beyond borders. This is CNN.